ladies and gentlemen, that was Stan Watson, and now we have Don Wells, who's coming on the line with us. Don is currently in the Missouri House of Representatives and is now running for the state Senate and for the 33rd District. And so, Don, are you with us this morning?
I am. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Sorry, we we trimmed into your time there. So my apology. So anyway, what I'd like you to do is to introduce yourself to the listeners and kind of give them a little bit of a background on who you are and where you're coming from and what your motivation is to move from the House of Representatives to the Senate, and what what your roles and ideas are for the slot or the role.
Okay. To begin with, I'm Don Wells. I'm running for the 33rd Senate District. I am a Texas County native, as my great-grandfather homesteaded at the head of Jack's Fork, north of Willow Springs.
All right.
And so I think that makes me a native. I went to a country school north of Willow, Pine Creek School. My grandfather went there, my mother went there, and I went there. I have lived, when we left that area, we moved south of Kabul, and I reside in Kabul now.
I got you. By the way, folks, his website is teamdonwells.com. That's TEAM, Don Wells, WELLS.com. And I encourage you to go there and learn a little bit more about where Don stands on issues and those types of things. And also, that's how you can get contact information, or if you want to send him email or communicate with him to ask him questions. That's important part of the due diligence process. So, Don, you're currently with the House of Representatives now.
Yes.
And
yes, I've served for 8 years.
Okay, and you're I'm correct. You're term limited out. Is that right? Or
correct?
Okay, gotcha. So, well, first of all, how do you stand on term limits?
Well,
let me throw Let me throw the rocks right at you.
I'm a conservative, and without term limits, I voted for term limits. And without term limits, I don't think we would have took the House when we did. I think it was a key tool in turning over the House to us, although we was very close before term limits kicked in. Term limits is good in one aspect and bad in another. I think I wouldn't want to go ahead and serve in the House because I agreed to term limits,
Yeah.
But I see the problem with term limits, that you lose all your institutional knowledge every 8 years. When someone terms out, you have more experience in that position than anyone in the Capitol,
Right.
Unless you go on to the Senate, of course.
Sure.
So it has problems, but
one of the ones I see is that the term of state rep is 2 years instead of like 4, right?
Well, that's a problem that I don't think will ever get solved. I think the senators do not want people their term coming up where a House member can run against them in the middle of a term, like it's offset. Some senators run on, like, in 2002, some run in 2004.
Right, right, every 2 years, yeah.
Yes, and I'm sure that
they don't want to compete against the House of Representatives members. I got you.
Right,
okay.
They don't want the competition, so I don't think it would ever happen.
Okay.
But on that aspect, it's really a disadvantage to the House member because he has to run every other year. He has
I agree.
to run a campaign.
I would rather see 2 4-year terms than the other way around.
I would too.
And honestly, 2 years, especially if you're coming in as a freshman, it's hard to get your feet wet and get anything accomplished in that first 2-year slot. And now you got to run again. And you know as well as I know that every time you run, and this is only my opinion, but every time you run, and I don't mean you, but every time a politician runs, it opens up the door to pressure from the outside, from supporters, from lobbyists to get into that person's psyche and affect how they, how they're going to vote on certain issues, right? Because elections cost money, and there's no denying it. They cost money, and it opens up the door to the steps of or it opens up the door to the issue of potential corruption, in my opinion. I would rather see 2 4-year terms, and with all due respect, Senate be damned if that's not if they don't like the fact that they got to run against the state representative. Tough luck. We're the ones who own the system, not the other way around. So, if the senators don't like that, that's just too bad for the senators. That's my opinion.
Well, I agree with you 100%. Here I am. I'm trying to run for the Senate, but I would have no objection to 4-year terms for House members. I think, when you tie their hands and make them campaign constantly, how can they do the work of the people?
Well, we can see that in what's happening on a federal level with Obama as a perfect example. I mean, the guy seems to just run it forever. He's always running,
Yeah.
Everything is a campaign speech, and everything is a campaign decision. And that's not what's in the best interest of the citizenry if every decision that you make is based on how's that going to affect my campaign.
And that's the wrong way to look at it. If you're there to serve the people, you need to serve the people. And what I've found, if you take care of the people in your district, they're going to take care of you.
Sure.
I had my first campaign, I run against a Democrat and a Libertarian, and I won with 62% of the vote. But the people in my district knew me. I had been the mayor of Kabul for 4 years, and I had been on the city council for 14 years prior to that. And they knew me. I'd been in business. Now, here I run. It was a 3-way race, and I won with 62% of the vote. Then the next time I run, 2 years later, they filed a retired school principal against me, and I think that the Democrats thought this was the best chance they had, and I beat him by 73%. But I'm saying my success has been because I represent my people. It's not because I sell out to someone. If you always vote your district, you're going to be okay.
I gotcha.
But,
all right. Well, let me interrupt you for 1 second, Don, because we've got to take a break. This is radio, of course, and those quarter hours keep coming around. We're going to take a quick break, folks. We have Don Wells on the line, which is website for him is teamdonwells.com. And I want you to get over there while we're on break, if you're near a computer, and do a little bit of homework and investigation. Don is currently running for the state Senate. And these are important, critical roles to the livelihood, the success, and the citizenry in our area. So make sure that you're doing your due diligence here. We'll be right back, and then if we've got some callers, our telephone numbers are 257-1111 and 866-554-6636. We'll be right back. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah. We're getting jiggy with Don Wells here. This is Mike Manchin. You're listening to 107.1 The Point, and we're in the midst of our political throes here of the coming silly season. And as you know, listeners, we've had candidates ranging from state and local offices to federal offices to county commission offices. And so we are doing our Paul Revere deal here and allowing you to hear directly from the candidates so that you have an opportunity to hear what they have to say, but not in a 30-second soundbite. We want to make sure that you have an opportunity to get informed and to do your due diligence and educate yourself enough that you can make an intelligent, articulate, informed, logical, rational, reasoning decision. And I advocate that you get over to teamdonwells.com and you educate yourself about Don, and if you know him and you support him and you've done your homework, then get a hold of this this candidacy and offer to help. You can have a sign in the front yard. You can lick stamps. You can make telephone calls on his behalf. You can get him into your church and have him talk with a constituency in your church or your organization or your civic group. You might throw a picnic on your backyard where people can, come over there and pass a hat or whatever. But get involved. That's the game plan here. So our telephone numbers are 257-1111 and 866-554-6636. And the reason I give out that toll-free number, guys, every time is because, as an example, Don's footprint here is the 33rd District. Well, that's made up of Ripley, Oregon, Howell, Texas, Ozark, Douglas, Wright, and Webster counties. That's a big footprint, Don.